Well, hello children. I hope you're doing well in these very unusual circumstances. And I'm here to read you a story. And our story starts many, many years ago. In fact, a very, very long time ago, when God's people were growing more and more evil. And God looked at the world and saw that it was not as he has wanted it to be. He decided to put an end to it all because the people were misbehaving and not following God's laws. The world needed a fresh start. So God decided that he would send a huge flood to wash every bad thing away. But he intended to save Noah, who was a good, kind man, and also his family. And God gave Noah very careful instructions and told him to prepare for the flood. And of course we have to remember that Noah wouldn't have had any idea about what a flood was. But God told Noah that he had to build an enormous boat called an ark. Now everybody around Noah laughed at him because there was no open water for miles. They said to him, "Noah, why are you building an ark? What's it for?" But Noah ignored them because God had told him what he needed to do. And for months Noah went on building the ark along with his sons until he had made the ark, and it was huge. It was as high as the tallest house. It was absolutely massive. And when the boat was finished, Noah filled it with enough food to last for a very long time because God had told him that the flood was going to go on for quite a while. And then, following God's instructions, Noah gathered together 2 of every kind of animal in the world and he led them into the ark. On and on stretched the queue with creatures slithering and sliding, crawling and creeping, plodding and prancing until at last they were all on board. Just think about how many animals that must have been. Just think about how many animals you could just name in a minute. And you think that Noah had all of those on board, plus many, many more. And when Noah, his wife, and the rest of Noah's family had joined them, God shut the door of the ark tight and safe behind them. It then began to rain. Soft drizzle fell at first, and then it began to fall faster and harder, beating down on the earth like an enormous drum. If you can think about rain, think of the worst rain you've ever seen. Well, it was worse than that. Streams turned into rivers, and rivers flowed into seas, and then all the seas joined together as one. The water spread and rose across God's earth until there was not a single mountaintop to be seen. All the people and animals drowned beneath the waves. But Noah and his family and the animals were all safe in the ark. For 40 days and nights it rained and rained, with nothing to see but water. The world felt a very sad and lonely place. But at last the rain stopped and the waters began to go down. Noah opened a window and sent out a raven, but the water still covered everything and the raven did not return. Noah waited a while, and we're talking months here after the flood started. Then he released a dove, but it soon came back because the water was still too high. Then Noah tried again and sent out another dove, and this dove returned carrying a bright new olive leaf in its beak. Noah knew that the water was going down and that plants and trees must be growing again. When Noah sent out the dove one more time, it did not return. The flood had completely gone and the dove had found somewhere to land. Noah opened the doors of the ark and the animals poured out onto the dry land, which God had made new. And Noah then came out with his family and he lived a very long, happy life after the flood. But God said to Noah, "I am never going to send a flood upon the earth again." And he said to Noah, "I will provide a sign that I am never going to do this. And that sign will be the rainbow." And God put a rainbow in the sky to show that he was never going to flood the earth ever again. So when we go out after it's been raining, or even during when it's been raining, and see a rainbow, that's a sign to us today that God is still there, that God has decided he's never going to flood the earth again. And it's a sign of God's wonders, really, when we see those beautiful colours in the sky, that although there is rain, we are never going to have a flood. And I think it also reminds us that when bad things come in our life, good things will come as well. And that the rainbow is just a great sign of God's power and God's blessing to all of us.